What's going on, y'all? I've got some really cool buffs and changes for Eiscue. But before I get into explaining my thought process behind them, how they work, and all of the move buffs and changes, I recommend that if you're new here, first of all, shout out to you. I appreciate you clicking on the video. And second of all, I recommend you pause the video and click not click, read the description because I have a bullet point list explaining all of the core philosophies and balancing approach for this ROM hack. And then when you're done with that, you can, resume the video. And when you're finished with the video, I recommend you click all the links down below in the description. Don't click off yet because it'll mess up my watch time, but you can join my Discord server. You can watch all the playlists linked down below for the other changes, other explanation videos, move explanation video, and then also the most important thing is check out the Google Sheet when you're done if you haven't done that already. Especially even if you're a returning viewer, if you haven't done it yet, look at the move sheet. I've got everything organized into categories, so it's easy just to click the category, kind of see, okay, these moves all do this thing now. Okay, that makes sense. Move on, Then it's a lot easier to actually digest all of the move reworks and changes because a lot of people get overwhelmed without really realizing, hey, like it's all into categories anyway. It's not that hard. Um, Eiscue though, Eiscue is really cool. I actually no, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like this thing's design, but I definitely would want to use it a lot more now that I was actually able to make it more interesting to use gameplay wise. The same goes for all the gimmicky, stupid fucking Pokemon that Gen 8 introduced. So many gimmicky one note, like one trick pony type Pokemon that I really don't like. I don't like any Pokemon that's a one trick pony. I like when Pokemon can do multiple different things and they have different multifaceted like play styles that they can take advantage of, and Eiscue is no exception. So I really like the way I reworked the forms, right? So the Ice Face form with the Ice Cube on his head has two abilities on top of Ice Face. Also, by the way, I didn't say this yet, but if you're new here or if you're returning, well, I appreciate all my returning viewers as well. But make sure you guys drop a like, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Helps with the algorithm. Helps get my work helps get my work out to more people. But yeah, so you've got Ice Face, which it's essentially disguise, but it's only for a physical move, and it also comes back in the snow. So that's incredible. You can set up the snow yourself or set it up with an ally, and I mean, honestly, you could just set it up on yourself and just sit forever because you're basically immune to everything at that point on the physical side at least. Uh, but that's cool. And then even just taking one free physical hit per battle is always going to be useful, no matter what. Even if you don't use the no ice face form, like the no ice cube form, it's still good just to have that free turn. Not to mention you can use it with a eject button, which is great to get a free pivot. Speaking of free pivot, that's where Wimp Out comes in. So the flavor for Wimp Out is pretty self-explanatory, I would hope. If you look at this thing's fucking face, I think it makes total sense for it to be a little wimp. Like, look at his face. So for him to run away when he hits below half HP is cool, and it's just a nice option because honestly, number one, I have to balance this around other pure ice types, right? For example, I consider things like bulletproof for him, but I opted not to give it just because I could have given battle armor maybe. Let me see if there's another pure ice type with battle armor. I'm pretty sure there isn't. Whatever. Honestly, I'm not gonna bother re-recording because if I do end up changing that to battle armor, which I might, because it's the same. I mean, battle armor just means you can't be crit, so it's good for like cheesy iron defense, amnesia battle armor, which maybe I don't like as much because then it discourages using Ice Face more, but so does Perma Frost. So I don't know, who cares? Regardless, that third ability slot's either going to be Battle Armor or Wimp Out. Wimp Out is just a free pivot. It's good. It's all reliable. It's just always it's objectively very 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 strong in an in-game context because you only get one eject button per fight anyway, and that's not long. It's not infinite use like it is in Sweltering. So use once per boss fight and then it wears off and you have to equip another one. Which of course you can buy infinite of them, but the fact that it's not infinite use like in Sweltering means that pivoting is much more valuable. Um, but I was just thinking like eject button ice face and flip turn ice face and all this other free stuff means Wimp Out is like it's still cool because you can get it on special moves, get a free pivot on special moves. But anyway, Permafrost makes you insanely bulky. That's the main star of the show for Ice Face form. I think it's really cool because if you lose your Ice Face, your defense and speed swap, and then your Spadaf is technically the same, but if you're in the no Ice Face form, it means you don't have Permafrost, so your Spadaf is much less good. Of course, 7590 is still pretty damn tanky. It's very tanky even with investment, but if you're running special defense, you're running Ice Face most of the time. Ice Face form, that is. It's good. I know it's a little confusing. um, yeah, and Permafrost. I mean, it's just insanely bulky, right? 7590. It's slightly less bulky on the special side than like Frostmoth, for example. But unlike Frostmoth, which needs Fluffy to be bulky on the physical side, Ice Face is naturally bulky as hell on the physical side. So 75, 130, 90 with Permafrost, very very tanky overall. It has reliable recovery in the form of Roost. and also good utility moves like Encore, Flip Turn, Baton Pass, and other cool things. Ice Face also gives you a free turn to click Agility, and of course, as many people know, Belly Drum. However, Belly Drum is at the very, very end of the game, just for balance reasons and because I'm not a fan of setup cheese like that. Even just Agility is good, though. Like Agility, Weakness Policy, or just straight up Agility, right? I mean, your 85 offenses seem very meager because flavor-wise, I don't see anything higher than 85 in terms of like it just doesn't make sense, right? Like the absolute max would be 95 in my opinion. That's the absolute max, and I don't even see that personally. I think 85 in both is very reasonable because it's a very fast Pokemon with a very strong ability. Two very strong abilities if you count Perma Frost, and then yeah, the battle armor stuff is very gimmicky. Honestly, I like Wimp Out. I'm keeping Wimp Out because thinking about it, like battle armor is cool, but like it's so cheesy, and I'd rather you have to use Permafrost or Ice Face or that kind of thing. Wind is just for the pivot, you know. So I think it's still. I mean, it is objectively still always going to be a useful ability because a free pivot is a free pivot at the end of the day versus the AI. It's very easy to play around it. But anyway, you have very high base power moves. Is my point. I was trying to get at earlier. The 85 offenses seem meager, but you get Wave Crash, and all this other strong stuff, which makes it so your. I could even probably push this to level 50 and move this to like something like this, maybe. It's not gonna be pretty anyways. Something like this, yeah, I'll do this. Just to make Wave Crash even a bit earlier, because then that's a really strong water move. Head Smash is 140 base power, no draw. I mean, the drawback is 50% recoil, but it can't miss anymore, so that's all really good. And then Absolute Zero and Icebreaker at level 55 is pretty damn early as well, given that they're essentially drawback-free 120 power moves. The only drawback being that you can't use them with Choice Scarf or Choice Band or Choice Specs because they can't be used twice in a row. And you also can't, well, you can use them with choice items, but you have to switch out. The main thing being, if you're running like a faster Eiscue, you can just switch between your moves. And you are very fast, of course, so that's very good. Hold on, let me just fix these moves. I should be doing this after the video, but Flow Reversal is also very strong for the record. So much so that I might even do that. But yeah, very fun. I mean, I'm not a fan of them, but I think the Permafrost defensive one makes me much more. It makes it look much more appealing to me, because otherwise it seems very unappealing. But yeah, also Icicle Crash at 35, 95 power ice move, no drawback. That's very good stab. Ice Beam 90 power. It's got high enough base power and it's got good enough coverage to take advantage of the like the move relearner, because of move relearner you can switch your options whenever you need to. Your moves whenever you need to, and that means that you're hitting super effectively a lot of the time, which means that your meager offenses become much better when you're hitting super effectively. So that's all really fun. And also just defensively, it's a great utility Pokemon. I mean, Ice Face, great utility, Permafrost, great utility. All three of these abilities are great utility options. You don't even have to use the Ice Face form offensively at all, whatsoever even, I would say. You could, and you can, and I'm sure you will, but it's not like the main star of the show here. I'd say the main star is just being that bulky utility Pokemon. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this level up learn setting game. All right, there we go, I got it. Okay, so, I mean, it's really it, honestly. I don't really know what else to say. It's a very straightforward change. It's got good coverage like takedown, pummel, reversal for fighting, and low kick. Play rough, wall up, disarming voice, hoodwink for fairy, Zen headbutt, lunge for bug and psychic, stomping tantrum for ground, terrain pulse and weather ball for weather or terrain based coverage. Obviously it's got tons of water moves. It's got head smash, tons of a good amount of flying moves as well. Nothing too high base power, but it's good for coverage. Like feather ball, wing attack are both 70-75 power. I could have thrown Dual Wing Wheel on there, but I don't know, it felt kind of weird to me. I don't know why. Also, I kind of like the idea of having to use Fury Peck's loaded dice. I think that's cooler. So, the Dual Wing Beat on them. So, I opted not to give Dual Wing Beat. I could in the future. I don't know. I could even throw it on right now. I opted not to, but I could just go back on. It doesn't matter that much. Regardless, fun Pokemon. Cool utility options. Yeah. I still don't love this thing. I still kind of hate its design, to be honest with you. I think it's fucking dumb. But I do think gameplay-wise, it's so much more interesting and so much more fun than it was before, and I would be much more inclined to actually want to use it now. So that's good. That's a win in my book, even if I don't like the Pokemon. It's still got really cool tools to work with, and that goes for any Pokemon I dislike. I still give them all really cool new changes. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace, y'all.